What is happening? What's going on where you are? Where are you? Comment. Let me know where you are. Let me know how you feeling. Let me know what you're drinking, what you're listening to. If you're actually celebrating the inauguration of the 46th United States president. Let me know. Comment. Type in the chat section. This is Golden Dark Dame. So make sure you subscribe to this channel so that you will be following it for future videos, future live streams, and all of that. Let me know where you are. So I wanted to treat this video like a proper acknowledgement of the transition of power of the presidency. And, some people have been, awaiting this day much beyond a point of patiently, to a point of impatience, justifiably so. And so, now that it's technically Thursday, I can say that yesterday, January 20th, was a day that many had marked on their calendar. You probably had a big red circle on it. Definitely a mobile calendar notification in order to do something to celebrate, recognize, honor, or acknowledge this day. January 20th, that is. So we now have a new United States president. And yeah, it had me feeling a little giddy, so it's official now. It is official. So if you're celebrating, write in the chat what you're doing to celebrate. If you're done celebrating but just happen to come on here, let me know what you've already done to celebrate. That's fine too. If you got to watch any of the inauguration proceedings or celebratory broadcasts in the evening, what was the best part of it, or the most poignant part of that programming for you? For me, it was seeing the performances by artists actually live on the grounds of the Capitol and around the monuments in Washington, D.C. Because it was a cold day. Yesterday was a cold day, so it was definitely cold. Last night as well, it was a cold one. And I hope everyone who performed out there was warm enough. Tom Hanks hosted the program Celebration America, and he hosted, and I promise you, just moments after he began talking, I thought to myself, he's speaking as if he is pretty cold. You could just kind of hear the tremble within his voice. So, yeah, hopefully it didn't get him too hard, considering, he was impacted by COVID almost a year ago. And so, he does not need to fall ill again, nor does any other COVID survivor. So, but that was a nice ceremony to see. I'm gonna continue talking in just a moment here. Just a moment. Yeah, this is officially on. This is officially live. It was pre-scheduled. I'm on now. So please just take note of the chat section and respond to the comments that are already within the chat section. Let me know what's going on with you. Is anybody else in DC like me? Anybody else coming on to listen? Where are you located right now? There were people who traveled here to DC despite to watch the see as much as they could see and to get as close to the monumental grounds as closely as they could, despite there not being a massive procession like there usually is for inauguration. There were still people who traveled from across the country, from far distances to come to the nation's capital anyway. So again, let me know where you are in the chat section. Where are you? And what are you doing? Are you still celebrating? Are you happy? Are you excited? Are you relieved, hopeful, anything? Let me know how you're feeling. Okay, so what? Nobody's on right now who traveled here. So okay, that's all right. It's still a celebration over here where I am. I'm in DC. I live here in DC. So it's all good for me. And yeah, I'm still acknowledging the the new president that's in place, the 46th president. Yay! Applause, applause, applause for that. So I'm just allowing a couple more moments for people to come on to see if anybody else is gonna come on to this live. I am in the starting process with my lives, so just waiting here for you guys, for some people, possibly. Another thing. Yeah, again, let me know, what are you drinking? You sipping on something? Because I'm actually fixing myself a glass right now. I'm about to pop a bottle right now myself. So if you have something, you have a cocktail handy, let me know what that is in the chat. This is like this is like a live remote inauguration after party. That's how this is going down here with Golden Dark Dame. That's me, Golden Dark Dame. So yes, 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 yes. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so digging in once again, this is your live streaming YouTube inauguration after party live from DC, from Washington, DC, with Golden Dark Dame. And I am celebrating the 46th presidential inauguration of Joe Biden. So if you're excited, like I am still, that's a good thing. And, I can honestly, I mean, is there anybody else who feels a difference even in the air now? Like, this has again been something marked on the calendar for many, I can imagine, for several folks here for many weeks, for many weeks. So it's here. We have a new president. Um, the former one did not get reelected. Thank God, thank God, thank God. So, um, you know, there's much to feel thankful and hopeful for and about right about now. And generally, under normal circumstances, I think there would still be some inauguration celebrations happening right now if things were normal. Again, I say, but because they're not, people are at home. Some folks are asleep, and then there's others who are still awake like me. So I'm gonna go ahead and dig into some topics and what has happened this week, what is still to come in the remainder of this week, and all of that. That's what I usually do on my lives. Golden Dark Day. So first, aside from the inauguration of our new president, President Biden, and Vice President Harris, congratulations. You are appreciated, you are welcomed, you are already amazing to so many people. So we are glad that you are here now occupying Washington, D.C. and the White House. So, all that being said, shifting away from the politics, I'm going to go into the entertainment side of things, and just want to bring up something that jumped off last week, which was literally social media news about two young notable you know young people that are in the entertainment, in the eye of entertainment, I want to say. One more so, not more than the other, I should say, which is Michael B. Jordan. He's an actor, as well as Lori Harvey, which she is a child of TV show host, comedian Steve Harvey. For anybody who doesn't know that, and so they made news headlines last week, pop culture headlines last week, as far as it being apparent that they are a couple. They're an idol. And, from what I saw, so many people had so much negativity, so many negative things to say. And it was kind of like, to me, it was like, wow, I wonder where all this, you know, bad and low energy being aimed, specifically being aimed towards Lori Harvey, stems from. And, it seems that the, interpretation, the premonition is that she I guess only makes, headlines as far as who she has supposedly dated, is dating, or has been involved with, as far as, being seen out in public with, basically. And so, due to that public history of supposed and apparent involvement that she has had with famous guys, people have bad things to say about her, which is extremely unfortunate, in my opinion, because, whether you're an entertainer, you know, a millionaire or billionaire mogul, you know, or just, your everyday working class person, at the end of the day, we're all human beings. And when it comes to, um, you know, Lori Harvey, what is the issue that should be taken with her as far as who she dates and who she has dated? It's ridiculous that people, have spewed the commentary that they have about her, because it's none of it is factual. Their people are forming their opinions and creating their judgment based off of photographs of who she has been seen with, who she has been captured being seen with. What is that to, label her as a whore, a slut, any negative name other than her actual name is? Like, who does that? And I'm talking about adults forming this commentary about her, across social media. So it's like people really need to, focus and get a grip on and recognizing where their ideals are coming from to form the opinions that they have, about what somebody else is doing that they don't even know. And, really just seeking to lowball, a young woman who's just living life in general. Like, it's a crime for her to date actors, entertainers. Says who? Since when? you know? And for her to be referred to by anything other than what she actually it's been yeah, again, it's been unfortunate to see what folks have had to say about her. But I would hope that she hasn't caught too much wind of it and that it's not affecting her life, as well as the same for Michael B. Jordan, because there has been some lowball comments and remarks made about him as well. Um, I want to say, at points in time farther away from being recent compared to those being made about Lori Harvey. But, again, these are two young people just living life. So as I sip my rose, I will conclude speaking about them by saying, enjoy each other. Hope they enjoy each other. And, wishing them well, just, not only as, an item, since they're claiming each other openly, that's great, but also wishing them well as individuals. Again, we're all human beings. So are you mad at a young lady who's dating? Anybody? Why is anybody mad about that? Do you wish you could be her? You wish you could do what she's doing now when you were her age? And is that your motivation for, having an opinion that trashes her? Like, come on, let's get a little more adult. Let's be a little bit more adult in what we choose to speak on and put out in the world as far as our energy goes and our, our inclinations go. Bigger fish to be fried out here. So that's that. But yeah. Now with today officially being Thursday, January 21st, guess what is on schedule to occur this evening? The first versus battle of the year. Yay! Applause, applause, applause. So, this first versus battle of this year is one that was first rescheduled, then it was postponed to an unknown date, which so happens to officially be today's date. And so this evening at, I believe, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Versus IG page on Apple Music and on one or two additional music platforms. I want to say Spotify possibly, but don't quote me. Um, Again, that are extensions or connected to Verzuz, named Verzuz, is gonna be the Ashanti and Keisha Cole battle. So, you know, I saw quite a few, I saw quite a bit of commentary in reference to this battle saying, oh, we don't even care no more. And it's like, oh, nobody's gonna listen to that, you know, because of the fact that it got postponed, not once but twice. But what people need to realize is that the reason why it got postponed the first time, which was due to Ashanti contracting COVID-19, how soon people forget, like, you know, the source of why a certain situation occurred. So when you remember that, you really shouldn't have much to complain about as far as this battle goes. Either you're going to watch it and listen to it, or you're not. And that's that. So, either be excited about it, tune in, or not. Continue on about your business, or go create some business. You know what I mean? But after the initial date that it was scheduled to have occurred, I was checking for it on I just happened to be browsing YouTube, and so Verse is usually broadcasted. I don't know if they started broadcasting the battle live on YouTube as well as on IG, but I happened to be browsing YouTube because I didn't know that it had already been canceled at the time that I was browsing YouTube. So, my intention was to, watch it through YouTube that night. And this was, last month when it was originally scheduled. And so I'm on YouTube, and so I saw, a couple of different, headings about it. So the one that I, opened up, I saw further that it was actually canceled. I'm like, what? I'm like within, I think, 10 minutes of the start time. And that's when I realized that it wasn't even going down. Either 10 minutes prior or 10 minutes after the start time for the battle. Realized, oh, it's not happening tonight. So that was a bummer, honestly. That was a bummer of an experience to realize that. Like, dang, I had no idea. So, of course, I had to check a couple other sources to confirm the cancellation, the postponement, the reschedule of the battle. But what I ended up seeing was some creators on YouTube. They actually they did their own like unofficial version of the battle, and it got cut off before they concluded because they were playing these songs that they were playing. The portions were too long, so they kept getting interrupted, and ultimately, their broadcast got ultimately fully interrupted. But yeah, so again, tonight is the official night, finally, of the Ashanti and Keisha Cole versus battle. If you're not hip to verses yet, if you haven't listened to any versus battle yet, What are you waiting for? You need to catch up. Again, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Instagram Live, possibly YouTube Live, Verzuz profile, Apple Music. And again, I want to say Spotify as well, but don't quote me. Double check that information to be sure. So, anyhow, I do think that I will be tuning into that battle tonight because I am a Keisha. Well, I'm sorry. I am an Ashanti, major Ashanti fan. So, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what gets played, which hits of theirs get played, and we'll see how the scorecard comes out. And hopefully, they actually will recognize a scorecard because most times with the past few battles, they've come down to being like, we all win. This was for the culture. It was a celebration. They always want to boil it down to not keeping score like they're supposed to for each round. And when I say they, I'm referring to viewers because, us as viewers, our opinions are what it gets measured to a degree in the comments section when we're watching through Instagram Live, possibly also on YouTube Live. So anyhow, again, we'll see how the battle goes down between Keisha Cole and Ashanti tonight. I hope it's another great versus battle. Sure it will be, regardless of how many people do not tune into it. If they don't watch it live, they're definitely going to end up watching the replay of it on YouTube. So anyhow, next topic. I already mentioned the business from last week with Lori Harvey and Michael B. Jordan. Oh yeah, now there's been just heavy, so much talk regarding, I'm going to TV. Shifting to TV, network TV series, shows. And, Ready to Love, season 3, The Last Resort. So they're part 1 of 2 season finale episodes aired last week. And so part 2 is supposed to be airing this coming Friday. And so, based on part 1, there's been so much that has been analyzed. Because they didn't, on the episode, they did not, speak to everybody who made it to the, to the end as far as, who ended up coupling up. Excuse me, I just took a sip of rosé. But they haven't talked to everybody who made it to the end as a couple yet. They're a little bit more than 2/3 of the way there with that. And so what I want to do, just because there's been so much commentary, that's already present here on YouTube from this show, what Golden Dark Dame is going to do and attempts to not follow suit of the pre-existing commentary is I want to talk about some of the folks that didn't even come close to making it to the end and coupling up. So, as is the case on most reunion episodes for a series, the entire cast is present on the finale, or excuse me, on the reunion. So that is the case for this series. And if I recall correctly, one of the differences between this season of Ready to Love compared to the first 2 seasons is that they eliminated participants on the very first episode, on the very first day. So, that being said, since the entire cast is on is on stage, is present, you know, you see everybody, you get to see everybody, but some of these folks, don't have anything to say or have not been captured saying anything. Nothing's been said to them because, again, some of them got eliminated on day one, from episode one. So, it's like, what can they say? What can they contribute to, this finale other than just being present and, meeting the quota? But anyhow, with that being the case, yeah, so much that I saw, so much opinion and commentary that I have seen, regarding the folks that did make it to the ending, it coupled up, it's been so many contradictions, and I just want to try to raise some awareness around those. Starting with seeing that, this is another season. I think it was season 1 of Ready to Love that did not. No, the first 2 seasons did conclude with under normal circumstances, but this season did not, because one of I'll refer to them as a front runner. One of the front runners, and this is a person that a lot of people sought after them as far as hoping to have a reciprocal interest, and potentially, becoming a couple by the end of the show, was a woman named Joy. And so what happened with Joy is that she had a family member that passed away, and because of that, she left the set, she left the show. This occurred a little bit more than halfway through the taping of this season. So because she left, and because she had so many people who still remained in the running who were interested in her, it led to a couple of unanticipated yet voluntary dropouts as far as other folks leaving the set as well. So because all of that happened, it was a domino effect. Due to that domino effect, the end result as far as the amount of couples that came about was a total of 2 couples instead of what would have amounted to being 3 couples. And so let me just let me see. I'm gonna take a pause for a moment. Take a pause for one moment here. But yeah, just realize that was nuance number 1 in the matter. And then, that was the case, so that threw things off. But because everybody from the cast is on the reunion set, there's the ability to provide for input to be provided, and for everybody to be able to talk about, whom they were liking and why, whom they didn't like and why, all of that stuff. And so many people expressed, like disappointment and letdown as far as part 1 of this 2-part reunion. But it is what it is. Like, this is a reality TV series. So what happened is what happened. There's not anything that can, as far as the second episode, the remainder of this reunion, that anybody can say, oh, I wish this happened, I wish that happened. I mean, you can say that, but it's unrealistic. But I'm gonna take a pause for a moment. Okay, I need to take a 2 minute pause. 2 minutes. I'll be talking again in 2 more minutes. Hold up, you wanna work that, work that. Let me work that, work that. See, you gotta work that. Yeah. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. So, pardon my brief pauses. So, now what I was saying is about the Ready to Love reunion. So now listen, it was what I've seen is too many people with this similar to Lori Harvey, the expressions about Lori Harvey, and people presuming that she's a hoe and that she's, lowly, she gets around, et cetera, et cetera. Just because you see or hear about somebody dating does not, I mean, come on, don't be an ass and assume. Okay? Just because you see one thing, don't jump to conclusions. Now, as this pertains to Ready to Love, again, it's reality TV, and we can only, form our opinions based on what we do see. Same with Lori Harvey. So don't assume that, everybody that we've seen her in pictures with, was supposedly dating, that she has sexual relationship as well. Because, and even if she did, that's her business. What is that to form a judgment about? You know what I mean? Again, she's a human being, just like you are, just like I am. And so, again, connecting that back to Ready to Love and going off of, again, people forming opinions based on what we have seen, what we're able to see, the footage that aired for this show, that was this broadcast of this show, Ready to Love. That's all we should be speaking on. So when it comes to the reunion, people have gone to the lengths of establishing speculations that reach beyond, again, what was actually shown to us on the screen. And, coming up with these theories. Well, maybe, such did this because maybe such was et cetera, was happening behind the scenes. And maybe their involvement with, that guy, maybe they were doing X, Y, and Z. Maybe that's why she asked him what she did on the reunion. Well, what evidence do you have of that? That's speculation. And in addition to that speculation, you're skipping over what you actually got to hear her say on the reunion. What she had to say about this point, this base that you're creating your own speculation about. That's baseless. It's just silly. So what I saw, the commentary that I've seen has been inclusive of people speculating, and I'm going to get specific when it comes to, and this was actually prior to the reunion. This is actually a result of, the finale episode of Ready to Love. Because the couples that remained or that were established, again, 2 out of what would have been 3 under normal general circumstances. The 2 couples that were established were Winter and Anthony and Adriana and Calfani. People have, prior to, again, part 1 of the reunion that aired last week, people had so much negative commentary that they stated about Adriana and her approach as far as, she ended up becoming someone who was in a position to choose. Okay. And I'm pretty confident that with her being a woman, that is the reason why so much skepticism has been expressed about her. Because, living in the United States of America and with patriarchy still being prevalent when it comes to relationships, what most of us are acclimated and accustomed to seeing is a man being the chooser. Okay. But in this case, in this matter, a woman was the chooser. And honestly, I'm telling you, that's the foundation of all the skepticism that's been, like I said, stated about Adriana. Adriana was the chooser, okay, between two men by the end of this season. And she did exactly that. She chose, okay? People had so much to say about, oh, she was playing games and, and the guy that she did not choose, she informed him that she was choosing, that she was going to choose the guy that she chose. She informed him of that directly in her own time. So people are complaining that Adriana, they feel like, oh, she played the guy that she ended up, not choosing. Okay, it can be viewed that way. It can be perceived that way. But what is the show? The show itself is it not literally a dating game, a dating competition, a dating contest, a dating game? That, as far as being a TV broadcast, is under the genre of reality TV. So what else was she supposed to do? You know what I'm saying? That was her role, to choose, to pick and choose. That's what she did. So people are so worked up that she had really had the power to do that. And it's unfortunate that people, view her in the manner that they do, if it's in a way other than what I'm explaining. When it comes to Winter and Anthony, the opposite was the case. And the duration of the opposite being the case, as far as Anthony being the person in the position of being a chooser, came, very close to the end, as far as him, holding that power. So, but even still, even despite that, um, as far as Winter goes, again, people are demonizing Winter based on her interest, her comparative interest towards Anthony compared to her interest towards another guy named Jay. And he was somebody who left the set due to Joy having left the set because it was apparent that they had a high level of interest in each other. So they both left the show, prior to the conclusion of it, prior to the point of, couples, being established and determined. So, like I said, people demonizing Winter. Like, and I hope that anybody who hears this commentary of mine, as far as analyzing Ready to Love season 3 goes, I hope that you can recognize, realize, understand that nobody is nobody is wrong for what they did on that show. What they did on that show, what those individuals did, is how they are. Whether it was just, within the confines and, within the period of the situation of that broadcast, nobody did anything wrong. They simply did what they did. And that's all it is. Fact, period. Um, so again, I hope people can recognize that and not, feel the need to, try to feel that it's necessary to, point a needle in a direction of blame towards anyone, because Ready to Love is a dating contest. It's a dating game. And it's executed in a way that we haven't seen before on TV. So just know nobody was wrong for what they did. They simply did what they did. They were how they are. That's the manner in which they executed. That's the manner in which they operated, based on being who they are. And that's bad. You know what I mean? Everybody on there wasn't a willing participant. Nobody was in a committed relationship with each other that was on the set. Therefore, the only potential avenue, the only potential lane in which blame can potentially be placed is only in regards to moral standards. But again, that's per those individuals that participated, not per anybody watching, not per any viewer. Because, as audience members of that show, we cannot dictate what any of those people should have done or should not have done. What they did is what they did. It's already in the past. It's already solidified. There's no changing it. So now to get more specific, this is a short video. Nobody came on to celebrate with me. I'm all right though. But now, so a major aspect of this part one of their reunion was something that was relative to Joy leaving the show, because Denise apparently fabricated information that she shared, that she produced and disseminated verbally to everybody else who was still present on the set of the show, the participating daters. And she told them, yeah, well, before Joy left, she wanted me to tell y'all. And she was specific. Denise was specific with this, apparent messages she was passing on from Joy, right? But they showed this as part of footage that was not aired during the season. So it was like, off the cutting room floor, not previously aired footage. And so after we got to see this message that Denise was passing on to everybody from Joy, right after Joy left the set, Joy stated that she did not tell Denise that she said that. Joy claimed that Denise was like, what are you talking about? I never said that to you. So that was like a big what for a lot of viewers. Kind of like, things that make you go, And so that's been a major talking point. Aside from people demonizing Winter for having had interest in Jay, because Jay showed interest towards Winter and Joy, but he showed more interest in Joy. And because Joy left, Jay left as well. People want to demonize Winter and, you know, like I said, tear her down because of the fact that she actually had interest in Jay. You're like, really? That's what that appears to be coming down to. Nothing much to say about Anthony, despite his extremely partial and I want to say distant engagement during the show. But anyway, people have just been jumping on the backs of the women. So Denise was number 3 just because of that. Extremely puzzling and perplexing action. So for Joy to say that she never told Denise any of that to pass on, that's been the thing. And so the last thing they got brought up before the episode ended last week was the host, Nephew Tommy, asking Jay and Joy if they are together. Since, again, they had high interest, it appeared, in each other, but didn't officially make it to the end as a couple. Inquiring minds want to know. And so they cut the episode off at that point before any response could be given to that question. So for me, I don't even want to predict, what the answer to that question is going to be. It to me is neither here nor there. And again, people were speculating on what the answer to that may be based on some body language that was read. But to me, that I noticed the body language, but in my opinion, it's subjective. But again, if I had to guess if they're a couple or not, if I had to guess, I'm gonna say that their response is gonna be that they're kind of like that they're talking. They're gonna try to explain it, they're communicating. But as far as a yes, no, that's not gonna be the answer. And they probably are not going to say that, no, they're not a couple either. So they're going to give an answer that's indicative of them being, like I said, somewhere in the middle, in the interim. I don't think they're like an official couple. But we'll see. We already know that Anthony and Winter are not a couple. They left as a couple. They had a spat. They claim that they've reconnected as far as communicating, but that does not equate to, oh, we're back together, or that we're trying to, become strong together. So that's already been clarified to the audience. And, as far as anybody else on that set, and to me, this is the biggest thing, as far as part 2 reunion, for me, is seeing if anybody else within the cast coupled up. Anybody else that got eliminated or voluntarily left, prior to the end, possibly, has gotten together. We saw like a little kind of forced interaction as far as a date offer between Alex and I can't remember that guy's name, but I don't really care for him. His personality seems lacking. But one of the guys asked Alex out for a date because they had mentioned that they've been in communication with each other already, since their departure from the set occurred about halfway through the season. But aside from those two, it's only apparent to me the potential for one other set of participants that might be a couple. And those folks are Naya and Edwin. And my speculation about that is due to having seen some dialogue by Edwin. He was mentioning something to do with Naya getting eliminated. And he stated something along the lines, oh, well, you know, she was supposed to get eliminated. Somebody else was. The guys had collectively decided somebody else, aside from Naya, should go, but then they ended up eliminating Naya anyway. And, you know, come to finale, come to reunion, he was like, I might bring it up because they weren't supposed to do that. So, you know, he was speaking as though, you know, he felt some kind of way about that personally because just before Naya got eliminated by surprise, apparently, according to Edwin, she started expressing interest in Edwin. But I'm telling you, this, as far as what we got to see on this show, this occurred within the same episode. As far as she had interest in a whole other guy, I think the guy KD, the DJ guy, KJ, KD, whatever. He said something that rubbed her the wrong way, and she completely shifted her interest off of him. And like I said, she started to inquire more with Edwin. And so, again, this is what they showed us on the TV. But within that same episode, that she starts checking for Edwin, she ended up at the conclusion of that episode getting eliminated. And so that's what Edwin was talking about in the interview that he did. But again, he was talking as though, you know, obviously he's indicating that he had interest in her. And so, plus they showed them like hugged up, like sitting next to each other on this part one reunion last week. And his arm was around her. And they're sitting in the rear, you know, the second row on the stools, but his arm is extended around her. So it's kind of like, okay, what's the deal? So we'll see what, you know, either one of them says come part two this Friday, tomorrow. And, you know, if they, you know, linked up, yeah, we'll see. It remains to be seen. I already have my own personal commentary that I shared about Edwin on my last video. So based on that, my speculation is that if he and Naya did connect, you know, per the taping of the reunion, that doesn't mean that they're still together now. And I say that again, based off the commentary, based off the interaction, the communication that I had with Edwin. So anyhow, if you want the deets about that, check out my video that was posted last week titled This Week, you know, Ready to Love reunion versus etc. Because I went into detail about that on that video. So yeah, we'll see how part two goes. You know, some people are hoping, oh, they better bring it on this, you know, remainder. Listen, again, it's a reality TV reunion. Not too much is gonna be scripted. Although I will say that as far as Denise being, you know, put on Front Street for apparently lying about something that Joy said, somebody who, you know, just had her sister pass and was leaving, and she felt the need to concoct that message. That might be the biggest remaining focal point of all, in my opinion. Because I think that, listen, if that's for real, then Denise, that's a problem. But I also think there's a possibility that Denise may actually be, you know, a total actress, you know, who was included in the cast of that show, you know, with a specific role. So if that's the case, that's the only thing that would justify, you know, us being made aware that she concocted that secondhand information that she told her other the other castmates on the show before she ended up exiting the contest. But we'll see. Hopefully we'll see. Hopefully that will be clarified, like how real or how fake that whole situation with Denise was. Um, they're going to cover what the situation is between Adriana and Calfani as well, because remember there were the other couple that resulted. So we got to get the scoop about that. That's definitely going to get talked about on this part two. And again, anything else that viewers may be wondering about is going to be up in the air. So we'll see how informative it is, how ultimately phony or a little bit closer to authentic the Ready to Love season 3 Last Resort part 2 reunion is. So on that note, this has been I'm sorry, let me start that over. If you like my flow, then make sure you follow me, like, share, and subscribe to this golden dark dame. See you on the next one. Be on the lookout for the next one. Happy inauguration night. Happy week of January 20th. Happy 46th President of the United States time. Yes, yes, yes.